So, I reckon it's about time for a new PC desk. This is where I sit and edit my videos, but this desk is rather old now. It's sort of got peeling surface there, and stains from spilling my beer, and everything's a bit cramped on here. I've got my projector and my monitor obviously. Don't really have enough leg room on this one. I want the new desk to be wider, and I've got a load of scrap wood in my garage. I don't want to go and spend 60 quid at IKEA. I don't think Sweden needs any of my money, so I'm going to build one myself. What I'm going to do is take this old desk out there so I can use it as a sort of a rough height template. So I'll see you out of the garage. Okay, so I've got a couple of options here. I could take the old wheels off this one and use them. I'm not quite sure if I'm going to do that, but I'll sort of leave that as an option. I've got quite a bit of scrap wood here. This has come from my work. They were throwing it out, so. But I don't think I've got a decent tabletop. I thought I had a little bit more than this. I've got plenty I can use for the legs and the frame of the desk, especially these thin ones here. I think I'm going to use these. They're quite nice looking. But I think what I'm going to have to do is pop to B&Q and get myself a nice bit of wood for the surface. And but you can use any wood, of course. But I'm going to treat myself to some nice pine or something like that. See you when I get back from B&Q. All they had is this pine here. Well, this is the best I could find in there. Now it is thinner in terms of the depth of the desk, so that's a little bit too thin. I'm not going to get my monitor and keyboard and mouse and everything, so it's kind of prompted me into a sort of a vague design in my head. What I'm going to have is the keyboard and mouse area, which goes back to there, and then a raised up higher area for my monitor and anything else. That'll give me more surface area. And it's also going to mean I'm not going to have books here holding my monitor at the right height. Probably going to chop this in half. I'm aiming for about 3 feet width, but it can be a little bit more or less than that. So I'm going to chop this in half, and actually, how long is this? 2000 millimeter. I don't know what that is in feet, but I'll measure it in feet, see what we've got. So that's 6 foot 7 inches. So we're looking at 3 foot 3.5. 3 foot 3.5 inches. I think that's probably going to be fine. So I'm probably just going to go for marking it there and then cutting this in half. And we've got the exact width for both the top layer and the bottom layer. That's left a little bit of a rough edge. I've just got some 80 grit sandpaper here, so I'm going to smooth this out a little bit. So that's the two surfaces sorted out, and I think the next stage now, I've got a choice of wood here. I think these thicker ones, perhaps what I'm going to do is see if I can salvage a bit of nice looking pine, because these match pretty perfectly with that. See if I can salvage one nice long bit, like maybe one of these, and that can be the joining bit between these two. It's going to hold the upper one above the lower one, and then we can sort of mock test the height. After we've done the height of this, we can mock test the height of the table and start cutting out the legs from the thinner bits there. But we'll salvage one of these first, I think. So there's a rough mock-up of what it's going to be like, but I'm actually thinking the height difference here is too big, so I want to take these blocks a little bit shorter, and also I'm thinking perhaps I want this top bit a bit further back, but I'm not quite sure if I'm going to do a leg there and a leg there, or just have the one leg. I'm not quite sure how sturdy it's going to feel, but I'll work on getting the height right first, and then we'll move on from there. So that's looking a lot more like it now in terms of height, and I think what I'll probably do right now, because I've just chopped these with a jigsaw, what it means is that the tops aren't completely flat, they're a little bit sloped. If they were completely flat, I could probably just rely on these two, get them properly screwed down with those big screws over there to hold this top surface. But because they're not completely flat on the top, I am going to have to put a third one. I think I'll cut another block to the same size as this, and we can have a third one here, and then we know it's at least as sturdy as a Robin Reliant. So yeah, we're going to be looking something like that. That looks just about right. I'm going to start screwing these into place. Okay, so before I do that, just looking at some of these, they're a little bit tatty, these. Not the best finishes. So I think I'll give my table a little bit of a colour theme. What I'm going to do is I'm going to spray these. I've got some old spray paints over there, I'll find something. I'll spray them some colour, and I'll probably spray the legs the same colour. So it'll have the pine surfaces, and then all the frame and the legs are going to be a nice blue or whatever I can find. So it's going to look something like that, and what I can do is adjust this backwards and forwards, get it in the right sort of position, and then I'll drill through the top as well so that both pieces are properly connected. Okay, so there we have it. That's the whole surface area, both sections done. Not the best job in the world. These screws are still showing, which isn't great really, I guess. I should have got some sort of L brackets under here. That's probably what I'll do next time. But I was going to look at using this thinner wood for the legs. That's what I had in my head. But now I'm looking at this, grabbing some of this thicker wood. That actually looks more like a sturdy desk leg to me. So I'm going to salvage a few bits of these thicker bits from these. So I've got 4 legs here, and in terms of height, this desk here, my old desk, is roughly about the right height, obviously, but I would actually like my keyboard and mouse to be slightly lower than that one, and then I've got the monitor slightly higher than that one. That's ideal. So actually where it's sitting at the moment is just about the right height, so I can just eyeball this. What I'm going to do is cut that one to the right length. Okay, so I have 4 legs, 2 different lengths, 2 longer ones to go from the top of the back bit there, and then the 2 shorter ones at the front. I've measured these all up, so they should be roughly about right. But after it's all put together, if it wobbles or anything, I can just finally adjust it by filing down or chopping down one of the lengths, something like that. But before I attach these, well, first of all, I've got these blocks now, so I can attach them nicely without putting more ugly screws through the top. I should have done that in the middle there, but I'm going to spray paint these blue to match that, and then once these are painted, I can get them attached to the table. Alright, all 4 legs on, and this has been not an exact science. I've pretty much just been eyeballing this and guessing the right places and the right distances, that kind of thing. But I'm confident this will be fine. I'm going to flip it over, test it out. It might be wobbly, might not be perfect, but I can chop these a little bit down if I need to get the balance right. I'll also need to put some sort of supporting wood between the back 2 and the side ones. That'll be the last thing that I'll do. But I'm going to get it flipped over now, see what it looks like. Alright, so I've added these extra supports on both sides and the back, and I've also added just a few more of these. Give that a little bit of extra strength there because these are quite small screws. So I'm going to turn it over again and have a look, see how sturdy it is. So it looks pretty great, I think. But the thing about it is, when I'm on here, quite a lot of wobble, quite a lot of flex, so I think it needs some extra support. Because it's a bit of an unusual design here, I might run another bar, support bar, going underneath this, connecting to that, and then maybe at the back I might do like a plate like this has got on it, a big plate there, and that's going to stop any sort of like left and right flexing from going on. Okay, so that is finished. I've added this support here to try and stop the forward and back wobble a little bit, and you can see I've added the slightly scruffy looking plywood there, not plywood, MDF or whatever it is, fiberboard. This actually came from a desk from work, but I'm happy with that. It's a lot firmer now, a lot more sturdy. It's not going to wobble around, so I've got to carry this back to my flat and I'll show you when it's in place. So that's the finished product, and I think you'll agree it's a little bit smarter than what was there before. Just a little comment here, this is great with the two levels here, but this probably in hindsight should have put that a little bit further back. When I'm sitting here I can't really see the top half of my keyboard, but I can just bring the jigsaw in here and run this down, take an inch and a half off maybe, and I might do that tomorrow, but I'm going to call it a day for today. That took me a solid 6 hours building that, but I am so pleased with the result. I don't have any experience with this kind of thing, so if anyone's got any suggestions as to how I could have done this better, please comment below. And I'm now going to log in and edit this video on my new desk. Cheers.